In the early 21st century, magic reawakened on Earth, and alongside it a new human race with orcs, elves, trolls, dwarves, and others. Humanity became meta-humanity. As technology proliferated and greatly advanced in the awakened world, global megacorporations seized ever more power, becoming de facto states with their own laws, courts, and armed forces. The corporations attempt to control all aspects of modern life. This has led to a vast and complex criminal underground which works for and against corporate interests. The independent career criminals who do what others can't or won't are called Shadowrunners. The year is 2101. Welcome to Fun City.
Previously on Fun City, the team visited Irina Saavedra at her magical items shop in Grand Central Station at the request of Yuri, who has just bought a new property he needs ridden of a bug ghost. Irina, his longtime friend, has a talisman that will help, but she'll only hand it over after the team does her a favor. Irina, an artificer and follower of the Oracle, does a reading on the team to, quote, get to know them, and sends them on a job that will test their convictions. Head to the South Bronx and work with her contact there to frustrate the efforts of a startup called Flippr, which is exploiting the city's automated real estate purchasing system and their physical proximity to the South Bronx City Information Services Office and Data Center to buy up property in the mostly immigrant fishing neighborhood and redesign it into ultra-contemporary rentals. A round of Matrix searches later, and the team learns that Flippr's CEO, Harris Trevorrow, loves talking to the press. Their showroom in the South Bronx is open for tours, and they are, quote, always hiring, looking for both ninjas and rock stars. Join the team now as they exit Irina's shop and consider their next move.
Stars and ninjas.
All right.
So what do you guys want to do? Where should we go? Should we just go up there and see what's up?
We should probably talk to the contact
Could do that.
and maybe visit the VR showroom or whatever it is, their office. And then maybe we'll get some ideas then.
TK wants to apply for the job.
Yes, I think it's a good idea. We know we need access to their payroll and taxes and property tax accounts, things like that in order to insert the skimmer. So we know that's the bare minimum. We also talked about perhaps finding out how they have rigged this whole system in order to have such a quick access and to actually turn that over to the neighborhood so that they would all have equal access to buying up real estate at the same time.
Maybe now is actually a good time also, too. I don't think we've ever talked about how it is the Matrix really looks.
Yeah.
Is there, like, what does the internet look like? Is there one thing that
slow down.
Is there one thing that it looks like?
Yes.
It looks like a bunch of windowless buildings and cables.
So the Matrix, at least as far as, and this is something that Shadowrun has borrowed from Neuromancer, the look of the Matrix is referred to as a consensual hallucination. The way that it looks when you're in AR, walking around in the world, is your field of vision is just dotted with many different icons for all of the things that you can interact with. And your comlink will automatically filter out most of those to the things that are personally relevant to you. So your comlink knows your contacts, your comlink knows the businesses and media objects that you're interested in. It knows the things that your friends are sending and they really want you to see, different little augmented reality objects. So those are just plastered all over the world, and you can essentially turn a knob up and down as to how much of that in the world you see. So part of the skill of being a decker is being able to wade through all that stuff. When you are in full VR, right, the world, the physical world that you walk on the sidewalk through goes away, and you enter an infinite gridded plane that...
So infinite gridded plane.
Yeah, basically.
Is the short answer, I guess, to the question.
Well, but there's two layers of it.
Yeah.
There's two levels. The lower level is a collection of all of the icons that you see when you're walking around in the world. And those are ordered by proximity. So if you're in full VR and you're basically looking at the stuff that's near you, you kind of see the same thing that you see in the real world, just slightly more ordered, but not plastered over the actual world.
Mike, what's in the sky?
So in the sky is where all of the hosts are. And these are essentially the sculpted virtual reality locations that you can visit that represent sometimes real-world locations and sometimes Matrix-only locations. And they're arranged in it's kind of like a massive sphere. And the higher up you go, or the further towards the edges that you go to the sphere, the larger the companies. So on the very, very outside of the sphere are the host locations that you can visit for the largest mega corporations in the world, whereas the things that are closer towards the center of the sphere are the hosts that you can visit for your local used bookstore, if they happen to have someone who is capable of producing a virtual reality location for them. And you travel between these things kind of just by thinking about it. To say that you fly in the Matrix isn't really the case. You kind of just zip back and forth.
Mental click.
Yeah, saying that you walk or touch or whatever is all kind of a metaphor for what actually happens. But because we're a podcast and we need people to be able to picture things.
Like surfing the web.
Sure, yeah, but it's also a fully embodied experience, right? Like when you're in VR, it feels like you are somewhere and it feels like you are doing those things, even if you're not actually doing them.
Like surfing the web.
Yeah, sure.
But at that time, your meat body is back on.
Yeah, just sitting in a chair or whatever.
Correct me
if I'm wrong, Mike, but my understanding is also that certain hosts have their own rules about how traversing the space can be. So you can mentally click or whatever, traverse to a host, and then you could be in a fantasy realm where you can fly and you can drink bubbly floating mead and things like that.
Correct.
And so you could have physics simulations in specific spaces in VR, but that's not the way the Matrix, which is more like the map or the nav space, looks like. Or
whatever host you're visiting, they basically get to decide what everything looks like and what interacting with it is like.
Okay.
You can go to the Flippr host. It exists relatively low in the sphere of the Matrix.
Cool.
You just have to go into full VR and beam yourself there. And
well, I think we should do that.
Should we drive up and then maybe you jump in?
Do we need, in order to install a skimmer, do we need to be in VR? These are just questions that I just have.
Remind me, is the skimmer a physical object that needs to be put on a physical landline, or is it a
program,
software object?
I think it would be cooler if it was a physical object. But also, I like the VR thing.
I would say that it's possible you are not currently in possession of the information that would allow you to answer that question.
Yeah.
You don't know what their infrastructure looks like, and you don't know how much is wired versus wireless. You would know that throughout most of New York, wireless is kind of the name of the game, and it's actually kind of weird that there are wires involved in this, and maybe speaks to some of the quirks of the neighborhood that you're going to go to.
So when you say she gave us the skimmer, she gave us the code for the skimmer. Is that correct?
She didn't give you anything.
Okay,
she gave you a recommendation or a suggestion from her contact in the South Bronx.
I see.
If you wanted to do something different in order to get money off of them, they're not against it, but that was the idea that was had by someone who was there. Yeah, if you wanted to write a piece of software, Lash or TK would likely have to spend some time putting that together.
Okay.
And we'll figure out what that test is once you know more.
Okay, well, I guess let's go see the contact.
Yeah. Who is our contact?
So you have a contact for, hold on, Calixto Lobo Salgado Amaral Mendonça.
Wow.
They run something called the Câmara de Xangue, which I'm going to say wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially the Chamber of Commerce in the South Bronx. It is located inside of the largest fish market that's there.
Yeah. Let's
right.
go see him. I think, let's go get as much info. So when we get a job there, we can gather info.
Yeah, TK.
Fuck them up.
Are we in the Bentley?
You head back underground to the large parking lot that you were in. If you guys don't do anything, you get back in the Bentley and you head north.
Yes, but TK engages the legs so it steps over the other cars in the parking lot.
God.
How does that feel inside the car to be in a leggy car?
It's kind of bumpy.
TK's riding it he's sitting down he's riding the seat like a horse saddle. He's just sitting down wide-legged, wide stance, holding onto the steering wheel.
Wait, can everybody make this sound? Zzz. Okay. Each one of us is a leg. Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Hi, Hi, Quarren Chummers. Or, Chum Distancers? Chum Dudes? Anyway, if you like Fun City, and we hope you do, join us on Patreon to help support the show. You get so much stuff. We have a bi-weekly chat show aptly named Fun Chatty, Lash's workout plans, and Yuri's egg recipes. You also get an invite to our Discord, where you can hang out and talk to us about Shadowrun. Speaking of which, we have a book club, and starting on May 4th, we're going to read one of my personal favorites, The Diamond Age, or A Young Lady's Illustrated Primer by Neil Stevenson. I will do my best to not assign homework. Join our Patreon, read Diamond Age with us, and it's gonna be fun.
I think in the meantime, TK is going to do some more matrix searching on our contact.
Yeah, roll it up for me.
And I got 4 hits.
So Calixto's pronouns are they, them. They have a long history in the neighborhood. They were born there, and they're kind of like, Calixto is kind of just someone that people know. They have a really big personality. You can find pictures of them all around. You can see that they're bald. They have some tattoos. They are big. They're not tall, but they're like a large person. And they seem to be involved in all different aspects of the community. So when there's a parade, Calixto is on some of the, is on the planning committee and on the float. When there is a politician that needs to talk about the things that they will do to support the community, they are there shaking Calixto's hand. So I think they're just sort of generally involved in the neighborhood. They are not a politician as such, but they are definitely I don't know if you would call them a community organizer. It feels like such a sort of empty term, but something along those lines.
Got it.
Cool.
And yeah, it seems like their day-to-day job is running something called, in 3 languages, the Chamber of Commerce.
I think TK relays all of this stuff back to the team.
Cool.
Also, guys, I think I'm going to start working on the tree trunk.
Oh, awesome.
See if we get some stuff from Odina.
Right.
So you've done a test on the tree trunk once. I think we were going to try to get to 10 total successes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do
You'll have to remind me what I need to roll.
It's your software plus your intuition.
Okay. That is 3 hits.
So you're part of the way there. I think you have 8 of 10.
Okay.
Nice.
You'll be able to do the next test on that tomorrow.
Cool.
We basically give
Guys.
you one of those rolls per day.
Tree trunk is almost done. We're close.
Wonderful.
Go TK.
Right.
TK just, he does his thing. He's very quiet about the things he's working on, but I think this is the kind of thing where he's like, yeah, guys, just checking in. Here's how it's going. Never really done this stuff before, but I feel like we're close.
Hey, Lux,
Hey, what's up?
do you want to talk about what happened back there?
Oh, no.
Have you ever had a reading by the Oracle?
No, I haven't. That was really interesting.
She got you.
Okay, thank
She
you.
read
Thank you,
you
Lash.
like
Okay,
a
Lash.
book.
Thank
Did
you,
get
Lash.
Yeah, I agree, Lash.
Okay, I don't have comment on that. I did get a little freaked out. So I would like TK to lead on this one, just in case. Yeah, it definitely gave me things to think about. How did you feel about yours?
I thought it was a polite reading. I don't follow the Oracle, but I respect her words. What about you, Lash?
I feel good about mine. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I would like to get more readings done. Yeah, death.
Doesn't scare you?
Doesn't scare me at all. I think that's great.
Lash, what do you think is the next big change for you coming?
I don't know. I was thinking of getting some new shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Your spiky ones are pretty cool.
I like
you get
your
a lot
boots.
you get a lot of compliments on them.
Yeah, I think my foot's growing, actually.
It probably is.
It's either growing or something's wrong. I think it's pretty swollen.
How
often do you go to the doctor?
What? Never.
how late do
No, I mean, technically I'm fully grown, but maybe my feet just got another thing coming.
I think we should just put a pin in that. I don't know. that we
Probably put a pin in it.
Maybe you're just gaining weight in the feet.
Yeah,
Lash,
in the feet
I'm
area.
going to check your nails later and make sure you're trimming those because I'm 95% sure that's what it is.
That is funny. Lux.
Lash, do you want to run a quick search, unless you're already on this TK, on what jobs opportunities are available that TK and or you
Sure.
would be good
You
for?
don't want to run that?
I barely can
You
use
could ask
my
Artemis. We've talked about this.
Okay.
No, I could do it.
Yeah, do it. Do it,
Okay.
Lash.
Lash just kind of tilts her head to the side and kind of like gazes off a little bit. She just goes on jobsforyou.com. And she looks up Flippr. She writes Flippr jobs posted this week.
You get a number of listings back that are entirely for the engineering department. And you can see that it's like those job posts where they're also advertising the company.
Mm-hmm.
All of the language is very marketing oriented. It talks all about the benefits that you get working for Flippr, and it touts that you would be working with world-class talent in a new corporation that has very exciting investors.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of opportunities. You can get in at the ground level. They're looking for the hottest talent. It doesn't say specifically what skills you need. It just says, like, we are looking for any accomplished engineer who can help us build our platform. Get in touch as soon as possible. We're always hiring, competitive rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And then she looks at the corner of like a Flippr's page on jobsforyou.com, and to see like where it has the like social network aspect of the website, where she could see all the people who are like currently connected to Flippr.
Mm-hmm.
And she just does like a broad like look at those people's profiles just to see what those people are kind of all about.
Is there any particular piece of information that you're after, or do you want me to describe what's
the vibe of those people?
White. They are entirely like blonde-haired, square-jawed, humans.
Which, and to continue to be that white in the future, you gotta work at it.
Yeah,
like
it's not
your
an
family.
accident.
Yeah, that has to be on purpose.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just looking up and
It's wrong to be white.
Honestly, like anytime I see anything in the future that has like people that are obviously just quote unquote one race, I'm like, I don't think so, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
Are there any remote work opportunities?
Are there any remote?
Most of the opportunities are work from home,
Okay.
but they do require an in-person interview. You have to go to the location. They do have an office that you can work out of, but they sort of have a what do they call it? Flexible office, whatever. Flex desk.
Hot desk.
Hot desk. That's what it
Hot
is.
desking.
I also randomly click on one of those people's profiles, and I want to look at where their work history. Where else do they work? Because I'm on their LinkedIn.
Sure.
Their jobs for you profile.
So like you click on a person and you see that it's mostly small startups that have been eventually bought by larger mega corporations.
Okay.
And so it would appear as though this is a very particular talent pool.
Yeah.
These are people who are hotshot programmers who work mostly in the corporate tech sector, who are looking to get bought or acquired by a larger company. And it seems like a lot of these people in this ring, that's exactly what has happened to them, or you can see that their trajectory is intern, low-level editor, engineer, senior engineer, and then SVP of some department that doesn't need to exist.
Right.
Which probably means that they just get paid 500,000 new yen a year to warm a chair somewhere.
We should start a startup.
Yeah. No.
Viv unhooks her trodes from her belt loop and slaps them on and tries to look at the Flippr front end as a customer.
So you want to go to
Just the service.
host.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the actual VR, or do you want to look at the website?
Just the website.
Just the website. So on the website, just looking at like a 2D, like a thing that you scroll through, you see mostly at the front a feed of properties that are in the South Bronx there is sort of side-by-side photos. The first is always a kind of dull, drab portrait of ostensibly the building as it exists now, with the color kind of drained out and, some boarded up windows here and there. And so then next to it is a kind of concept drawing of what the property could look like if it was redeveloped in the Flippr style, which is just a lot of it's like designer bullshit. It's structural plastics, lots of open floor plan, like you can see into someone's living room and you can see all of their designer furniture, stuff like that, with a little counter on it that is how long this property has been on the market. Like sort of saying like, hey, if you don't come and get this one from us now, like it's going to go soon, you better, it's only been here for a little bit. Get your redeveloped property that we're going to put together for you right now.
Is there a search bar?
Sure.
Viv goes to the search bar and looks for houseboats. Are there any results?
Roll a d6.
Ooh.
If you get,
I'm on the new roller.
If you get 3, 4, or 5, 4, 5, or 6.
A 6.
Yes, there is on the very edge of the South Bronx, far, far south on the water, just on the other side of the fish market, there is one very old houseboat that is currently in redevelopment to be turned into a 6-unit condo.
Wow.
Floating condo.
Floating condo.
6-unit floating condo.
Floating 6-unit condo. It used to be an old colonial house, an old colonial like cedar. What is it? A cedar siding.
It's all cedar.
Yeah, cedar siding. A cedar siding colonial house that was on kind of like pontoons. The person who owned it put it up for sale, and Flippr bought it, and they're currently in the process of renovating it, and they're going to make it available for 425,000 new yen. Per unit.
Right.
Duh.
Viv in the air is like making a backspace motion as if it's like computer keyboard. And then she slowly like tries to type 2 bathtubs to see if Luxe's property comes up.
It does not.
Oh. Their website is very easy to use.
That's what all those programmers are for.
Henley pulls off the highway and heads east, then south below Belmont and Arthur Avenue, the commercial center of a historically Italian neighborhood in the Bronx, which has, inexplicably, as far as much of the city is concerned, been the focus of aggressive city development. It is the site of many municipal architectural excursions. The dense, adventurous structures of Belmont provide a counterpoint to the South Bronx, which is low and old. What is still standing has been maintained, but never remodeled. It is aged not by design, but because of time. After the catastrophe, much of the South Bronx closest to the water was destroyed and rebuilt on rock and concrete infill. Natural and synthetic sand was shipped in from China and Russia, as there was a shortage in America, mixed and sunk into the rising tides. Using what they learned building the superstructure that would eventually support Manhattan, the community of the South Bronx, largely day laborers and construction workers at the time, rebuilt their own firmament. Over the last 100 or so years, the South Bronx has transformed into a vital fishing village, supplying grown, printed, and farmed seafood to the city and most of the eastern seaboard. It is a home to a mix of Brazilians, Italians, and Chinese, some of whom are first-generation immigrants, but many of whom come from families who have called New York home since before Manhattan was rebuilt. Henley circles the neighborhood, weaving carefully around the food carts, fish stalls, and street vendors, looking for a parking space. The fish market looms in the distance, and every few lots the team sees a large, angular glass building with little sprouts of greenery sticking out here and there. These buildings look as though they've been dropped into the neighborhood, transported from the vicinity of Grand Central. Spores of corporate architecture taking root in the South Bronx. Henley walks around for a while, I guess.
No, Henley's driving.
Okay, Henley's driving now. Yeah.
People get upset when they see a car walking.
Yeah, I bet. Finds a parking space, and you guys are just kind of dropped off in the South Bronx. It's very busy. It's a weekday afternoon. There's a lot of business being transacted. No one's paying you any mind.
I feel like I kind of want to set Henley to just keep driving around the neighborhood.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
because
there's
it's a conspicuous car. It's like,
Yeah. There is a common feature that is just called the circle feature. And
Great.
Henley will gladly just circle for as long as you want until you want him back.
Great. Let's do that.
You get out of the car and Henley just drives off and putters around for a while for as long as you guys want.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Let's go find Calixto.
Is there a fish market nearby?
So you guys would be able to see the fish market from quite a distance. It's pretty large. It's, a very, very large warehouse that's right on the coastline, right on the edge where the South Bronx abuts the water. So you guys want to head there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think we're going to want to wait to get the fish until we know we're going to see Irina soon, right?
Because otherwise it'll be stinky.
It'll be stinky fish.
Can't have stinky
Does
fish.
synthetic fish stink?
Yes.
Oh,
Wow. The technology.
just checking.
It will. Yeah. It will rot. Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be food.
Yeah. It is manufactured, but it is organic material. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe we can ask Calixto where to get the best deal on rainbow trout steak.
Agreed.
You could get a soy fish probably that wouldn't, but like that would just
No.
that's basically just a tofu chunk in the shape
You
of
can
a
get that at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
We're
we want
here
the
in the
best.
South. Yeah.
No, when you're here, your family.
South Bronx.
It looks like someone dropped an Italian villa just into the middle of the South Bronx, and there's a big sign.
Mamma mia! Mamma mia! It's okay, Mama. We have it still. It's still okay. My brick will fall out of the house. We get your brick back, Mama. Don't worry.
So on the southeastern corner of the South Bronx, within view of the water, but not quite on it, in one of the semi-permanent segments of the sort of patchwork superstructure that makes the South Bronx, there is a large indoor warehouse. And you can see from a distance, it's got like a big patchwork roof. Some of it is like finished with tile. There's some aluminum sheeting. And as you get closer and closer, you start to hear the din of basically just a giant indoor market. This is where you would know this. Like, this is where everybody from the city who serves fish professionally comes to buy their fish. So every morning and afternoon, you have people coming in for the lunch and then the dinner rush. And once you get inside, you see just two massive pathways lined with all of these stalls of people of various backgrounds and expertise selling all of their product. You see fish steaks placed in ice sculptures, very nicely carved little like pockets cradling these expensive looking steaks. You see whole fish laid out on electronic cooling pads. You see some very, very fancy stalls that have what looks like just whole fish on actual ice. And you see even fancier stalls off in the distance that have real, swimming, living fish in tanks, which is shocking. Like that you would buy that and eat it.
Holy mackerel.
Oh.
Wow.
And that's the show, folks, and we'll see you next week.
And you get
Thanks for
15
listening.
million edge. Question: are there any stalls that are have food to eat, like food ready to eat?
No one would stop you from just purchasing anything that you see and putting it in your mouth.
Like a weird penguin.
Like sashimi.
Yeah. But no stalls that are fit just for it's like, here's a fried fish. I'm looking for fried fish
Food
sticks.
trucks. Food stalls.
Food stalls.
Sure.
Yeah, not just
millions
service
of them,
and
right? Yeah.
inventory. Yeah.
Any of these places you could approach and you could ask for like a preparation of any product that they make available. In the back corner, if you follow your nose, sort of you can follow the scent of some fried food if that's what you're after. You can also spy off in the distance. There's a small sushi counter, so you could go and get some fresh sushi if that's something that you're after. You're kind of surrounded by places where you could conceivably order lunch, depending upon your comfort level of being handed a salmon steak and just biting into it.
Viv is comfortable with that.
Yeah. Lash looks around to the group and says, I know we got things to do, but we didn't eat lunch. Anyone hungry?
I could eat.
Yeah, this looks amazing.
I love fish in more ways than one.
Then let's do it. Let's
Is this weird for you, Viv?
Oh,
Yeah.
not at all. Not at all. It's part of the circle of life.
But you see those live fish in those tanks?
Yeah. I'm going to go say hi to them.
Oh, good, because there's a fried fish. There's a fried fish stand right over there that I would like some fish sticks at.
Yeah,
Those
if you
fish
get some,
sticks?
get some for me.
You would like an order of fish sticks?
Yas.
Yeah, I'd like some fish sticks.
Okay, 2 orders of fish sticks.
I'm
Viv?
going to get the raw stuff.
Okay, 4 orders of fish sticks because I get 2.
As you're walking from where you are, so does you guys basically split up and look at the market?
Yes,
Okay.
Lux is saying yes, he wants fish sticks, but he's looking at an octopus that looks like it has to be alive, but apparently it's printed. It's crazy. It is moving.
Oh, that one is a display robot.
Oh, it's a display robot.
Yeah, TK's
Yeah,
in
and
trance.
he's just like, what? How is this possible? They printed a live octopus, and then he slowly
Yeah, as you get closer and
Realizes.
closer to it, you hear.
the little servos. Yeah.
TK.
And Viv just pops up behind you. Ah, the scholar of the sea.
Oh.
Go on.
Is that what the octopus is?
Octopi have problem-solving skills. They're very intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
I've met a few. And she's just like polishing her nails on her.
Slip home turf.
Yeah.
Lash, as you walk towards the fish and chips stall, which will sell fried fish fingers if you want them,
Yeah.
you also see something that you didn't see from when you entered, which is a number of stalls that are all grouped together that actually sell the machinery that is used to print fish. And it seems like this is a kind of geared towards the home cook situation where you can buy a small-sized printer and, subscribe to the material that you need in order to print and flavor.
You can print it probably in any shape you want if I want to make a fishy minion for dinner.
And that actually, there's a bunch of signs on one of them that advertises that you can make a fish steak in any shape that you want.
Nice.
And one of the shapes is something that you do not know what it is, but it looks like a thumb wearing a goggle and it has one eye.
Thumb wearing a goggle.
I actually looked at my thumb.
Thumb wearing. What would that be? Am I missing what that would be? A thumb.
Oh, I see. You're looking at the sign, very
A
confused.
thumb wearing a goggle.
When I was a young boy, my mother would love these little yellow servants.
This is a very tiny Chinese man. He looks to be about 100 years old.
What's this thumb wearing a goggle?
We used to tell stories about these little chirping yellow servants.
Shannon, it's a minion.
Oh, it's a minion. Wow, I really.
You remember? You remember?
Well, why didn't you say it's a? No, I'm not gonna say
I'm
what I was gonna
old.
say.
Why are you yelling at me?
Oh, it's a minion. I've heard of these. Are you selling fish sticks?
Can I have a fish stick?
Oh, I thought you were working here.
Opposite.
Oh, you would like fish sticks? Five orders of fish sticks. Okay.
So yeah, you can go to the fish stick counter and they will gladly hand you a number of fish sticks.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Lash, get an extra one for Calixto.
Oh, 6 orders of fish sticks. Okay. Oh, Lux?
Yeah?
Can I have new yen?
Yeah, I could send some. I
Yeah.
send some to her and through our
Thank you. I don't keep any on me.
You mean you don't have? You lost access to your accounts again?
I don't know. Oh, okay.
Lux sends her some new yen in a little account that he had set up for her, just in case she can't access hers.
The bored-looking teenager behind the counter operating the fry later is like, that'll be 24 new yen.
Here you go. Great. Wonderful transaction.
He
Scene.
he puts a bunch of fish sticks into paper cones that are set within little, they're kind of like pushed into a small holder thing. And he sets out 6 cones full of a bunch of fried fish fingers each.
So she hands a order of fish sticks to the man that she met.
Randomly.
What was his name?
He's gone.
He's gone.
He's vanished.
The booth is gone.
He
There's
never
just
was
like
even
some
there.
paper blowing around where he was.
I'll never forget you, man who taught me what a minion was.
I'm over here.
Oh, there he is.
I just walked over here.
I'd like to point out that Shannon, Mike Rugnetta, am the one who taught you what a minion is.
Yeah. And then she goes and eats 2 immediately before she eats them as she walks because she's a walker and eater and gets back.
They are.
Great.
It's delicious. Was not served with and does not need any dipping sauce.
Wow.
Oh, well, this is the most optimistic
Yeah.
thing about the world.
This is the best thing that's happened
Wow.
in the future.
And she thinks,
There's just a little bit of lemon juice on them. It's great.
oh, she again, when she's walking back, she sees that like at home printing machine and she thinks, wow, Yuri would really like that. I think that thing, that's what I'm going to get him for Christmas.
I think he would probably, if he wanted it, he'd probably already own it.
Yep, she thinks that's what I'm going to get Yuri for Christmas, and I'm going to pay for it with Lux's money, is what she says.
Does she say that out loud?
Yes.
TK's like, nice.
Lux hears her just say, and I'm going to pay for it with Lux's money. I don't know what she's talking about, but I do not care at this moment.
How about those fish sticks?
Really good.
So you guys see on the opposite side of the market, there is a There is a tall, I don't know how you would describe it. A tall stall of some kind that's pushed up against the far wall. As you approach, you can see that there is a sign on it that says chamber in Portuguese, of in Italian, and commerce in Mandarin. You can see that it's kind of a cross between a museum, a pharmacy, a bodega, a post office, and an office center. It's got all kinds of stuff on these tall shelves that go all the way up the wall. There's a broad bar desk kind of thing that has a curve in it. You can see printers of various kinds, like paper printers, no fish printers. You can see a bunch of liquor bottles. You can see a assortment of small mailboxes. You can see these cylindrical tubes that you use to ship things via boat over long distances. So this is like a shipping center too. As you get closer and closer, you realize that it also stretches into a part of the market that you didn't see before, that it kind of like goes underneath a small overhang and extends further off to the right, where it becomes a bar with stools, and you can see a dingy dance floor, and there's an old style jukebox off in the corner. And there is a average height person that looks roughly like the pictures that you had seen on The Matrix, about 5'9", standing behind the counter. They are large. Their head is completely shaved, and you can see as you get closer, their ears glint. They're rung with very small glowing studs, and off of their right ear hangs, there's a little bit of a chain, and there's a bright gold cross that hangs there. They sort of see you approaching with purpose, and they lay their hands down on the bar and beam you a big smile as if to say, you know, what do you need? Bring it on. You can see that their hands are dotted with gold rings and all of these different colored jewels, and you see their trid painted fingernails are kind of flashing as they move their hands around. And also how the sleeves of their long gray smock are pushed up to reveal these tiny smatterings of really small, very intricate tattoos underneath a dense coat of like graying arm hair. And they speak in a very low, comforting tone. Welcome, welcome. How can Calixto, Lobo Salgado, Amaral, Mendonça, and their Câmara assist our visitors today?
We got you some fish sticks.
I've already had lunch.
Oh. That's okay.
I mean, I love them, so I'll take them.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
To what do I owe the pleasure? It's
Hey.
not every day that people are coming in and offering me fish sticks.
Oh.
So you'll have to excuse my confusion.
I understand.
I'm not going to try to do a Brazilian accent. I'm going to ruin everybody's life if I try to do this. So,
Well, hi, my name's Luxe Scythe, and this is our team here. This is Lash,
Hello?
TK,
Yo.
and Viv. Irina sent us actually to help. To help
the
with some,
contract.
to help you with some problems that you been having in the neighborhood.
They get a very big grin on their face, and they eat one of the fish fingers and kind of look you over and look you up and down and say, I understand. You might know as much as I do. What can I help you with?
First, do you have anything to drink?
More than enough. Pick your poison. They gesture down the long end of the bar with the cone of fish fingers in their hand. Yeah, it's a big bar. There are a lot of liquor bottles on the shelf.
I like salt.
Margarita?
Yes, please.
Okay. Calixto gets to work making you a margarita. Hands Lash the cone of fish fingers back, since it can't be placed down on the on the bar without spilling over.
She takes them.
I don't need to know why it is you've accepted the job. I know that Irina has her ways, but I imagine that you know roughly the problem that we are facing and how we're hoping to solve it.
Yeah, we understand the problem at hand. We would just like to get any information that you have on...
Come, sit. And they gesture towards the row of stools that are in the slightly more private part of the Chamber of Commerce. And they walk down and they're shaking a margarita. You know.
Yeah, we don't like these Flippr guys, and we have some basic plans to get inside the company and do some skimming, and perhaps get some of that money that they're filling their pockets with from the neighborhood, filtered back into the neighborhood. We also were curious if there was anything else you might want. I mean, we don't know how they're getting these notifications of real estate going to market so quickly. We attempt to figure that out. If we could give that to you or to someone in the neighborhood, would that be useful?
Yeah. You mean I would know before Flippr?
Yeah, we before we got to work on kind of fixing what they've rigged, we wanted to make sure that would be valuable to anybody who's in the neighborhood who could actually take advantage.
Absolutely.
If you don't have the money to buy the properties, for example, when they go in the market, then it might be wasted effort.
I mean, as you can probably tell, I'm not the most technologically savvy person in the world, and they gesture around, and you actually do notice now at this point that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't appear to have a computer.
Right.
It's just a bar.
It's just a bar.
There's a jukebox there.
But surely I could find someone in the neighborhood who would know what to do with any information you bring us, but that would be contingent upon what that is.
Okay. All right, well, that's useful to know. The only other thing I would say is that I've run into types like this before, and you throw a wrinkle at them or you throw something in the track and they end up clearing it and find another way around. So if there's a way we could scare them completely off the neighborhood, that would be the thing that I think sticks the most.
I told Irina this because she said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want any trouble. The more of a bang this makes, the more people will run away.
Sure.
And I don't want them to be able to say that the South Bronx is an inhospitable neighborhood, that it is unfriendly, that it is crime-ridden. We don't need that.
Okay.
We need them to think that their business plan is untenable, and we need them to choose to leave.
Okay.
And to not make any bad press for the neighborhood in the process of doing it.
That makes sense.
Viv is licking the salt off the margarita glass.
Oh yeah, you are served our margarita. It's very refreshing, and yeah, there's a lot of salt on that rim.
That's pretty much all she's interested in.
So this Flippr, when did they move into the neighborhood?
They've been here a little bit more than a year at this point.
Anything about the building they're in of note?
What an eyesore! It's terrible. Did you not see it when you came in?
Oh, is the big glass one?
Ugh! And they spit on the ground. Sorry if I actually spit on you, Dijon.
No, you missed.
It would be hard to miss.
Okay.
Yeah. And anything since they moved in, the buildings that are near their building, do you know anything about them? Like what businesses they are?
I know that they picked the lot that they are in because of its proximity to the local info center, and that's been there for decades. It's a very old building, and, our guess is that that's how they are doing what they're doing, is that they have somehow managed to get a private siphon, essentially, directly from the info center so that they get info first before anyone else.
Who runs the info center?
The city.
Okay, I have a couple of other questions. One, what Irina wants us to do is set up a skimmer, take a few cents on the new yen from them. I don't think that's going to end up making them change their mind about being in the neighborhood and doing what they're doing. I think that if they ever get wind of it, then it'll be a pretty easy problem to fix. We're happy to do it, and we will. But maybe we could figure out what they're looking for, and maybe we make what they're looking for more sparse. For example, are there examples of real estate that they get information on first, but they're not interested in dealing with? I imagine they're not getting every piece of real estate that goes up on the market. Am I wrong?
I mean, I'm not looking at. I don't have as perfect a knowledge of the real estate of our neighborhood as they do, and that's part of the problem. They know so much more than even people who live here because they have direct access to the info center and all of the updates. Just from the outside, the amount that they're buying up seems like it's a lot. And it seems like there is nothing that they are not willing to purchase and then, in their words, rehabilitate. And they get this gross, disgusted look on their face.
Well, I think it's time to take a trip to the info center.
To be clear, the idea of installing a skimmer is something that I just suggested, and I'm open to any solutions to this problem. That I saw a movie once, and it seemed like a good idea.
Right.
You are the professionals, and I leave it to you. I am just a...
What was the movie?
It's a very, very old one. It's about a group of friends who work in an office together.
Yeah, it doesn't work in that movie.
I guess I never finished it. Do they not
No.
Oh.
They're wrong decimal. But we
that
wouldn't
seems
do
like
that.
an easy, that seems like
it's
a
an
thing
easy thing to not. It's a short-term solution. What I'd like is to get the information about what's on sale in this neighborhood into the hands of people who have a vested interest in this neighborhood and a history in it. I think getting rid of that competitive advantage puts them in the same situation as any other realtor. And if they don't have that competitive advantage of here, they may be able to find it somewhere else, and they may be able to move it somewhere else. So that would be my idea. TK, you got anything?
No.
Okay.
Great lead,
TK's leading this one.
TK's just thinking. He's just contemplating his options. He leads from behind.
I'm thinking we need to get ourselves to that info center.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody at the info center?
Unfortunately, no. They are a bunch of low-level city bureaucrats who come to work from other parts of the city and then leave at the end of the day.
Bureaucrats, you say?
They're not a participating group, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Got it. Lash, do you want to start seeing who works there? Do some searching?
Yep.
Yeah. What do you know about this Harris Trevero? Was this guy's ultimate dream to take over the neighborhood? What does he want?
Oh, Trevorrow, the CEO of Flippr.
Do you know anything about him?
Seems like a guy that really wants to be rich. I know that he hangs out with a bunch of the upper echelon of the, rich people in New York. I know he's got a bunch of friends with deep corporate pockets. I know he looks real good in a suit.
Where does he live?
Oh, I don't know, actually.
Something we can look into.
Another question I have is, where do you get your tattoos? I'm actually in the market for one. I'm thinking I want a soccer ball on my ankle.
Oh, because it's where you kick. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hold on
You
one
kick
second.
with your ankle?
Yep, I kick from my ankle.
Jesus.
Got all the strength.
Yeah, I got powerful ankles.
You want to kick from your instep, but the ankle's close enough.
Yeah, right on the ball of my ankle. Clink.
Well, you like my tattoos?
Yeah.
Oh, thank
They're
you.
awesome.
These were all done by my friend Giada, who's in the neighborhood.
Oh, Giada.
I can send you her information if you'd like.
Please, I would love that.
Okay, you get a little contact, like a connection request. And yeah, you get a contact information for, Giada Allegretto.
Giada Allegretto. Wow. Thank you for that. That is a tip that is going to be important to me.
Nice. The margarita is on me.
Oh, thank you.
If you need anything while you're here in the neighborhood, and I mean anything, you come back to the Chamber of Commerce and I'll do my best.
Thanks so much. Do you have a comm link?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be here.
All right. Well, we
Yeah.
could come here directly, or we could send you a message. But
Yeah, sure. You get their comm number. So yeah, good. Do you know what you're gonna do? You don't have to tell me. I realize that you are professionals and that there is a certain security element to this, and then they lean really close and whisper and they say, but like, what are you gonna do?
well, this is very helpful because one of the easier things to do would be to try to stop people from these yuppies from moving in or stop them from wanting to be here. But it sounds like the reputation in the neighborhood is something that we really have to look out for. So we're gonna try to get into their little honeypot, direct jack into the info center and interrupt that and get that power into the hands of the people who live here.
Anything you can do to look out for the reputation of the neighborhood would mean a lot to me, and I know it would mean a lot to everyone here.
Okay.
Lash, when she has been looking up. Wait, what did you ask me to look up, CK?
Who the bureaucrats in charge of the
Oh,
info
yeah.
center.
Who the bureaucrats are in charge of the info center. And she also looks on jobsforyou.com in case there's any jobs for the info center as well.
Doing a matrix search for a info center bureaucrat is a bit like doing a matrix search for a toll clerk.
Difficult.
It's like Googling, who are the police officers? You find little to no information other than maybe a Wikipedia entry about the existence of these historic buildings and the fact that people work at them. But you can't find on any public website anything about who they are, what their jobs entail. Really, the details are very, very light.
Any job openings?
Not that you can find. Again, yeah, it's like being a toll clerk. Like it is you might know, or you might, if you want to roll logic. Yeah, just roll logic.
Roll logic?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna roll my new dice roll.
Yes, thanks, Mike, for the new dice roller.
Yeah, I hope it works.
Roll it. One hit.
One hit.
One hit.
I got one hit on the actual.
I'll give it to you. This isn't quite a long leap. It is probably like other municipal jobs in that since it is a city job, it is relatively cushy with great benefits and an amazing pension. So you can retire and be set for life. And so it is unlikely that there are public calls for job openings because there is a infinite line of people who just want this job.
Right.
And that it is the kind of thing where when
Nepotism.
or like when someone dies or you know like no one leaves
no
these
one
jobs.
leaves, yeah.
So like when a job opening is from someone dying and then they just have the next person who is going to take that job ready.
Sure. Okay, so no jobs opening at the info center, nor can I find out anything about the info center.
Cool. The info center. So like if you were to look at a Wikipedia entry or whatever, it's not gonna say anything that is super surprising.
Yeah.
There used to be a lot more of these in the city. There are fewer and fewer of them now as things have gone more and more wireless and as grid infrastructure has been built into architecture. Like when someone builds a new high-rise, information management is part of that construction project. And so it is unnecessary to build buildings whose sole duty is to deal with matrix infrastructure. The South Bronx is one of a few places that still has these buildings standing. There's maybe half a dozen of them in the entire city at this point, and it kind of does what it says on the tin. It is a information management center for a localized community, and on the inside, they are usually largely either analog or digital patch bays, and there's the people who work there make sure that information that is going from one part of the city to another part of the city gets there and gets there quickly and in the correct format.
And just to refresh my memory, at least, the nature of New York City and the arrangement with real estate sales means that people, at least in the South Bronx in this case, anytime they want to put their house up for market or apartment up for market, whatever, they cannot do that themselves. They have to send that information to the info center. The reason why Flippr is able to do this is because there's such a centralized way in which things go, up. To sale, they just have the direct jack to it, so they get the notification that it's up before anyone.
The Bureau of Land Management
right.
In the city is in charge of all real estate, and when you want to sell something, you go to an office of the Bureau of Land Management.
Right.
The info center is not a place that people go, really. It's like going to the pump house.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but it is the place where when the Bureau of Land Management has processed the fact that a piece of real estate is up for sale, it is then put out to the rest of the system through various data centers.
Right.
And this is one of a few where, there is still a physical location. And so.
But the info center is the point of propagation.
For this neighborhood, yeah.
This neighborhood, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it might be easier to get into the info centers. Like, I don't know what kind of security we're going to meet with Flippr, but it might be easier to set up something on the info center side rather than the Flippr side. But it might be harder to get. I mean, it is a government building. Maybe it won't be easier, but.
Well, I say maybe we should do both. Maybe you get working on the info center side and TK works on the Flippr. What you think, Teek?
Sure. I think it's probably a good idea to go to the info center itself, but I assume Flippr is going to have a similar level of security, but probably not for job applicants.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Let's. Where do we want to head over to the info center first?
Sure. And then we can decide what to do.
Cool.
They are both within walking distance of the market, so
Great.
it's easy for you to. Yeah.
I was going to yell, Henley.
Yeah.
Henley can continue to circle. You leave the market, you walk by a bunch of open stalls, small food carts, and food vendors, people selling whole fish, people selling fish steaks, all kinds of wares are available, fish catching equipment, and so on and so forth. You turn a corner and you see in the middle of the block, as you turn down this corner, a building that it sticks out, but not because it's big, because it's small. It doesn't fill the entire lot that it sits on. You can see all of these row houses and all of these tenements kind of abutting one another, creating a large edifice on one side of the block. But then in the very middle of the block, it all stops, and there's this small, squat, hexagonal building with a dome on top of it. Sort of looks like a 2-story tall pepper mill. And as you approach it, you can actually look through the lot to behind it, and you can see the rear of what you would guess is Flippr. This huge glass cube of a building that is directly behind this data center. It's made of a yellow-gray kind of slab stone, the info center is, the data center is, and it's got this really old civic architecture feeling. It looks like it hasn't been washed, like it hasn't been power washed in decades. Gross. All around the eaves is all black. You can see there's a bunch of bird shit on the top of it. Like, it is old. Like I said, it stands alone, and there are these slivers of space between it and the buildings on either side of it. And what you can see in those slivers of space between the data center and the buildings that are on either side of it, further towards the back, there is this intense, it almost looks like iron armature that is shoved into the ground and is attached to either side of the building. And there are these big slots, like holes, that come out of the side of the rear of the building. And out of those slots are just bundles and bundles of cable of all different colors, of varying diameters, from something that's the size of like an audio cable to something that is the size of like a human waist. And it all comes out of the top of the building through these two slits, wraps a little bit around that armature, and then dives down into the ground. And you can see the ground is mostly loose stone, except for where the cables go into the ground. There's this really thick black grating that the cables just dive into and underground. And it just disappears into the blackness of this grating. It's directly in front of you. At the front of the building is a small concrete staircase, very ornate, weird little, like brass handrails on either side of it. It starts wide and gets narrow up into an old stained oak door that looks like it's been there for eons.
God, I can smell it, Mike.
Yeah.
I can smell it.
TK walks up and knocks on the door.
There is no answer. It sounds hollow inside.
Viv wants to stick outside, but wants to quickly ascend the building.
Sure.
Yeah. She got 3 hits.
There are, from what you can tell, 3 people inside this building. None of them are awakened.
Mm-hmm.
One of them has, hold on.
Full body Morgulons.
The fantasy name generator, disease name generator is weird.
A lot of like grayscales.
Yeah.
Bluefoot.
Mouse stomach.
Mouse stomach?
Mouse stomach.
Machi.
Rabid baldness.
Rabid baldness is funny.
You can also
But is that a
generate them
disease,
in
though?
English or French.
Ooh la la.
So like les dysfonctionnements intenses.
This should be a mistura.
There are 3 people who are in this building. None of them are awakened. They are all old, and one of them has emphysema.
My people.
TK knocks on the door again.
This is a government office. We don't sell food or fish or anything. Please leave us alone. Thank you.
TK knocks a 3rd time.
Sir. She opens a little porthole in the middle of the door, like the guard in the Emerald City. You can't come in here, no way, no how.
Hi. Can I talk to you?
You're talking to me right now. What do you want?
I just wanted to say hello. I was in the neighborhood.
Hello. It closes.
Okay. TK decides, I think he goes back to the group. I think we should just wait for them to leave and then break in.
TK, you're the leader on this, so
I think that's an excellent idea.
I think that's a good idea.
Sounds good.
What time is it?
3:30.
Do you want me to put the fire alarm on in the building?
No, because then they'll go back inside afterward.
And we'll draw more attention.
If they're
You don't want me to send all the fire department here?
If they're bureaucrats, they leave at like 5 p.m. But it would be easy if we could check to see when they're going to leave without having to actually be here physically.
Do you want? I could give them all messages on their comm links that their dog is lost.
I don't think we should do that. I think we should.
Okay, I'm just spitballing here, TK.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
Should we take a walk around the block?
Yeah, let's go see Flippr.
The Flippr office sticks out like a sore thumb for the reason that is the opposite reason from the data center. It is huge, and it is of a material construction that is unlike anything else that is on the block. It is in the center of the block. You can see through its glass windows the 2-story salt shaker of the data center behind it. It towers above the buildings on either side of it. It is a 5, maybe 6-story glass like monolith. It kind of gives off a gallery feel when you look at it from a distance. Everything's very sterile. Everything's very open and clear. You can see that there are multiple floors to it, and there is a wide staircase that links the first floor and the second floor. Looking inside, it sort of looks like someone plopped an upscale Northern European furniture store into the midst of like a working class fishing market village. There's a bunch of very expensive but comfortable looking furniture that is placed in these small groupings around this very brightly lit lobby. You know, it's 3 o'clock, so the sun is still kind of high in the sky. You can see that it's just like sunlight, sunlight, sunlight into this place. There's a bunch of wood, leather, and aluminum chairs and tables that are around, and you can see that there is a cherry wood desk with like a pleasant-looking young man sitting behind it. The other thing that you would probably notice if you get a little bit closer, or you guys sort of like up close a little bit, you're like on the sidewalk in front of it. Yeah. Is that there are these very like meticulously constructed physical models, like made of paper and cardboard and plastic, of some of the buildings that they have for sale. Viv, you would recognize on the little plinths there's that little clock that's ticking up. It says like how long they've been on the market, how long they're available.
Because I've seen the website, yeah.
Okay, do we want to try to get in the building? Do we want to try to go in VR and check out the VR situation of this building?
I would stick out like a sore thumb. I'll stay outside.
Yeah, I don't think any of us need to be on their cameras, especially until we try to get TK a job. Can you guys check to see if they have them around?
Yeah, I guess I'll do a matrix perception test
Is there
to see if there are any cameras.
bench near the sidewalk or like a parklet or anything?
There is homeless, unfriendly seating that is attached permanently into the sidewalk in front of Flippr.
The ones with the bumps?
The ones with the
I
bumps.
hate them.
Yeah.
Three hits.
Yeah, there's all kinds of security paraphernalia throughout this building. You can see that there are 2 security cameras all the way at the top of Flippr that point straight down. You can see that there are 2 that are on either side of the front door as you walk in, and you can see a couple other dull sort of icons.
Can I see anything in the back pointing
No,
toward
you cannot.
Is that because I don't have enough hits or because there's just nothing back there?
You would know, I guess TK would know, they're a tech startup, so that you don't see a huge grouping of technology when you do a low-level matrix perception test is not really a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh yeah, everything runs silent and they're good at hiding things, and these things aren't going to be available to the public.
Cool.
Is there any kind of benefit to us going in? We pretend that we are in the market for a new condo for me, right? Okay, this is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Lux, you're my dad.
Yes.
I'm your daughter. We're going in. You're looking to buy me a brand new condo. And we just go in. We just find out a little bit more about them, about them. Just get some intel, see what office tensions are going on. Do we think this is a good idea?
Can we see anyone inside the glass building?
Yeah, there is a very pleasant-looking man sitting at a cherry wood desk.
All right.
Yeah.
Then let's go in.
Viv is still going to be outside.
Cool.
Any plan on what we're saying when we go in?
Do you want me to spin up an ID for you real quick so you can ask about a job, TK?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. I got 6 hits on his ID. I got some good
Wow.
exploding 6s.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And
What's the name? Give me the info.
It is Bert Bing. No, it is not Bing
Bert
Bing.
Bean Bean, that's what you said.
Yeah.
You said Bert Bean Bean.
Okay.
first name goes.
Sorry, it's Bert Bean Bean. I actually typed something I didn't need.
Bing Bean?
Bean Bean, 2
Bean
beans,
Bean.
right?
2 beans.
Bean
Yeah, that's
Bean.
fine. Bert
Bean
Bean.
times
Bert
two.
BBB?
Bert Bean Bean.
Triple B?
Yeah, Bert Bean Bean, and you have an amazing little resume here I've thrown together for you. It's kind of a compilation of a lot of tech skills that you may or may not want to
Sure.
use that's associated. But yeah, just I throw that onto his comm.
Bert Bean Bean.
And did you whip up some IDs for us as son and daughter.
I could do that real quick. Yes.
And again, I think our relationship is a little tense.
Okay, so maybe we're not.
We
we're
don't
a
have
little cool
the,
on each other.
Yeah, well, this is.
Stepdad?
It's not a. Yeah, it's a stepdad, obviously. But and it's also a situation where like the only love language you have is gifts. Physical gifts. So like this is your only way of showing your affection is to like buy me a condo. And I'm more of like I'm more of an acts of service type of the love language that I like.
Yes.
Lash, where did you learn about love languages?
That was what I was doing on the way in. I was taking a quiz.
Were you reading my book? Did you go in my room and read my book?
I didn't know it was in your book, but I got a lot to say about love languages based on what I was reading on the way up. So TK, I have a feeling that your love language is not words of affirmation.
It is not.
Wow.
What do you think about that backstory?
That sounds great. I am Daryl Strawberry, and you're Martha Washington.
Okay, great.
All right, but I got 7 hits.
What's your limit?
I think it's like 10 or 11, so I think we're fine.
And also, I'm a professional skateboarder.
Oh, mental is actually 6. So
Okay.
it's my
6.
6.
Great. So you both have level 6 IDs.
Yes.
Great. Sure.
And it says I'm a
Wow.
professional skateboarder
Yes,
on
it
there.
does. Yes,
Okay,
it
good.
Wait, so why would we be together?
We're not.
We're not.
You're
We're
entering
just
at the same
happening-
time.
We took the same trade-in probably.
Okay. You guys walk in. The
Yeah.
3 of you walk in,
The
and
3
Viv
of them
stays
walk-
outside. You get inside, and it is very pleasantly air conditioned and smells lightly of sandalwood.
Mhm.
And the very pleasant looking red haired gentleman wearing a light blue Oxford khakis and loafers behind the cherry desk looks at you. His eyes widen, and he says,
Well, hello and good afternoon, and welcome to Flippr. My name is Tyler. How can I help you this afternoon?
TK
Oh,
is.
wait a minute. Are y'all with Harlem Shake Productions?
What?
I am, yes.
You are now leaving Fun City. Thanks for listening. If you want to support the show, get access to bonus one-off episodes, our bi-weekly post-episode chat show Fun Chatty, and our Discord, where we will be starting our next book club, reading Neil Stephenson's Diamond Age on May 4th. Head over to patreon.com/Fun City Ventures. And of course, thanks to all our current patrons for help keeping this ship afloat. If you like the show, you can give us a rating on iTunes, tell your pals about it, and come say hey to any or all of us on Twitter.
I'm Bijan Steven, and I am TK. You can find me online at Bijan Steven on Twitter, which is BIJANSTEPHEN, or on Instagram, and you should just Google that.
I'm Jen De La Vega. I am Viv. You can find me online at Randwiches. That's the word sandwiches, but just replace the S with an R.
This is Nick Guercio. I play Lux Scythe. You can find me on Twitter at NGUERSH and Instagram at NGuercio, GUERCIO.
This is Shannon Odell. I play Lash Goodbog. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Shodell, SHODELL.
This is Taylor Moore, and I play all the bad boys. I'm at taylor.biz.
My name is Mike Rugnetta. I am your GM. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mike Rugnetta. You can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at Fun City Ventures. Fun City was recorded at Fortunate Horse in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. It was produced, edited, and sound designed by me, Mike Rugnetta. Pixlriffs is the lemon on your fish sticks. Fun City's music is by Sam Tyndall. Special thanks this week to Guy Snover for the 3D printer sounds. Our art is by Tess Stone. Our Discord mods are Olivia Goulin, Kit, and Kestrel, and the voice of Artemis is Molly Templeton.